So, welcome everybody to our Lammas Symposium at this time of high summer. And here in Avalon, uh, it's been wonderful to be out on the land uh, in the height of summer and enjoy everything that this season brings. So, today with me, I have Catherine Crowther and Patricia Sutherland, who are tutors for the Priestess of Avalon course. And I'm going to go to Catherine first and then to Patricia. And they are going to talk a little bit about the course and themselves. So if you'd like to introduce yourself, Catherine.
Hello, my name is Catherine Crowther and I'm priestess tutor. I'm a priestess of Avalon and I'm a priestess of Goddess, both of which belong together and yet are separate at the same time, merged and priestess of Goddess of the land I live and work, and then priestess of Avalon also in the land where I work and walk a lot of the time. So that's me. Would you like me to talk about the Spiral One, or should we get
Yes, please. Yeah, if you want to talk about Spiral One.
so we've got a picture here of Goddess Hall, dressed for the season where we're this watery season at the moment, that is flowing with us. And you can see here how it is that we're all set up for a spiral of students waiting to come. And Spiral One is part of a 2 year training to become a priestess of the goddess. And Patricia will talk more about Spiral Two. Spiral One is 8 weekends. It's um, it's an introduction into yourself and the Wheel of the Year. So we have an Avalonian Wheel of the Year that Kathy brought through many years ago. Um, and the seasons and the way we see Lady of Avalon in her seasons, in her landscape. You can see from the pictures behind Lisa and Patricia about the lady in her land, the lady of the land, the lady reclining in the land. And coming to Glastonbury to do this training is so important for that connection with the land. So in Spiral One, we do much walking and we step into the seasons through both an initiatory weekend where we all come together, and also through our own explorations of that during the course of the season. And students tell me how much that means to them, that they get their own time to explore that for themselves. The seasons, there's 8 seasons, there's eight weekends, and of course there's a Lady of Avalon who is the centre, the core, the middle. And we start the training at Samhain, when we all come together and birth ourselves again, but also release those things we don't need. And then from there we go into Yule, which is the season of air in this lineage. We go right up with the lightest of all the elements, and then slowly during the course of that spiral year, we visit with the maiden, the lover, the mother, but we also spiral through all the elements as they get heavier and heavier, and until we ground all that everybody learns at a self-dedication ceremony which takes place in September, again on the land. So it's really important to know that this is a transformational journey that we step into. And one of the key, I don't know, I wanted to say tricks there, and I don't really mean that. I mean um, the key fundamental um, way to walk this is one step after the other, put one foot in front of the other. And sometimes it can feel very challenging to do that. We come up against our own challenges during Spiral Year of having business and life and the way we live our lives and the way we've always lived our lives comes up as we start looking at what our real possibilities are, what our opportunities. And the Lady of Avalon, that connection with her, getting to know her, getting to start to trust her, to love her, to see her as our core, is is can be the most important thing we do for ourselves in our lives in this lifetime. But it can feel challenging because we come up against habits that no longer serve us but have done occasionally, and we really see ourselves, the whole of this land, this isle, is surrounded both practically and metaphorically by water, which is another reason why we have water behind. And her reflection is both outside us and within us. And having the courage to face our own reflections is fundamental to this whole training, and something that we start living by and having the courage to really look at in Spiral 1. And Patricia will tell you how she takes that into Spiral 2 afterwards. But don't this training isn't for people who don't want to change their lives. It is for people who feel called to this training. I can remember not understanding why I was called to become a priestess. I really didn't have much idea other than an urgent and unwavering need to do it. Like hearing a siren song, like hearing the
Mm.
chime of a distant bell sometime in my past, sometime in my future. And that's all I really knew about it. We do have taster days, and they're another way to actually learn a little bit more about what the training is and how they're run over the year, um, and get to meet a couple of other people who may become your spiral sisters or brothers as well. And that's what happened last year, actually. We've just held this year's taster in Glastonbury, and we had some really lovely people that came to that, and we went out for a walk. We did all the things that we normally do at spiral weekends. But last year we had 5 students who did join, and it's really lovely to see them all still on the training, and reflecting how they came together, and that helped them on the first weekend. So weekends are usually Saturdays and Sundays. I say usually because there's occasional Friday, especially for correspondence students. The in-person students are from the UK, and they come 8 times a year, as I mentioned before. The day usually starts at 9:30 and finishes around 5, and that partly dependent on the size of the group. Every year is different. The correspondence students come 3 times a year. They're the students who are overseas usually, and they come on the first weekend for the dedication ceremony and also at Ostara in March. They're the same weekends that the in-person students almost also must attend, because we do great and exciting things at the weekends. It is a spiral year of ceremony as well, so all those rites of passage that are missing in today's world are brought into Spiral 1 in order to help bring us through this training and bring us into the presence with the Lady of Avalon. And it's just wonderful to watch students go through that and be part of as a ceremonialist as well. So it is an absolute joy being a tutor. I absolutely love it. It's the best job I've had in my entire life. And I do that full time. So it's just a real joy to do that and to hold these students through their first year, and then very reluctantly pass them to Patricia because I love them all so much. By the time we've gone through everything all together, then it's really hard to let them go. But Patricia holds them beautifully. So yes, I'm getting ready to pass this cohort to you in the next few months, Patricia. So.
I know. Oh. Don't worry, I'll look after them well.
I think for now that's all I need to say, unless either of you can think of anything I've forgotten to say.
Thank you. That was really comprehensive, and just to hear your passion and your joy, and yeah, what a beautiful journey the first spiral of the Priestess and Priest of Avalon course is. And just introducing Patricia Sutherland, who will speak a little bit about herself, and also she tutors the second spiral and the third spiral. So over to you, Patricia.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you, Kit. And we'll try and flow nicely into Spiral 2 now. Then, so for myself, my name's Patricia Sutherland. I live in Lyme Regis on the Jurassic coastline. I'm a priestess of Avalon, priestess of Goddess, and priestess of Gaia. And so my journey began. I arrived in Glastonbury one day for a few hours, and I went up to the tour, and I just sat upon the lady's body and felt a real calling and a real knowing that I've been here before, and that I needed to be here. I needed to come. I didn't know in what way, but I got a real calling. And I remember walking down the tour and walking down the high street and into the Goddess Temple gift shop, seeing Susie Quatermass, and she handed me the leaflet for the training. And she says, "I think you need this." And I was like, what? What? I'm just here visiting on holiday from Cambridgeshire. And so I took the leaflet home, and yes, I did apply. But obviously I wanted to be in person. So I moved myself and my family from Cambridgeshire down to Lyme Regis. And then we went into lockdown. So I couldn't actually be in person for my first Spiral 1. And I was devastated, really devastated. But I knew, well, as I know now, Goddess and the Lady of Avalon has her ways. So I was really being initiated, and my patience was being brought to the fore. And then when I finally got to visit Avalon for my Spiral 2, it was just amazing. And I knew I'd come home. It is my home. It's my second home. It's my other family, my spiritual family. So whilst I have my family in Dorset, I have my other families definitely in Avalon. So that's how I was brought to the lady. With a really strong pull, and no idea why. So I completed my training, Spiral 2 and Spiral 3, which was very transformational on all levels. And then, then I thought I would take a break to allow everything to integrate, because as tutors, we say this to our students: allow things to integrate, give yourself some time. But no, the lady had other ideas. So I became a lovely for Kathy on Spiral 2. And then things progressed, and I was called to teach Spiral 2. And I haven't looked back since, really. So I had no time to really think about what I wanted to do as a priestess of Avalon. But obviously this was my calling, and this was what I was meant to do, is to teach. So here I am. So Spiral 2, I'll talk a little bit about that. So from the care of Kit, all the students, or most of them, will perhaps carry on onto Spiral 2. And this is where we really learn to become really true heart priests and priestesses, developing our priestess gifts and our talents, all in the service of Goddess and the Lady. And obviously it's a lot more hands-on. We do a lot more practical elements for as to how we may best serve Goddess, her community and her nature. We go very, very deep. We go to a deeper level of ourselves, and that brings up a lot of our woundings and our shadow selves to the fore. So the practical skills that you will learn if you continue, obviously we look at the energetics of how Goddess shows herself in all of her many faces and archetypes. We look at the energies of the land, of nature, everything around us as to how we can absorb this energy and use the energy for Goddess. We have we look into ceremonies, all the many different kinds of ceremonies, the rites of passage, hand fastings, all of the seasonal ceremonies that you can do. So we look into how we can prepare ceremonies, plan them, so that people who see them feel into the energies of Goddess. And everybody who visits a ceremony will always leave a little bit changed. Their lives will be changed in some way as the energy of Goddess touches them. So we look at sacred spaces, journeying between the worlds, scrying and divination with nature, with different physical matters, crystals, water, smoke, all of the elements coming in. And obviously we do some oracling and embodiment of Goddess. And then it reaches the penultimate, which is walking the labyrinth, which is another gateway to Goddess. And here, that this is where you will feel, you will sense, you will know Goddess in the land, and you will hear her calling you. You listen to her, and perhaps the lady will call you as well to say, come, I want you, come on to spiral 3, you know. So it's a really deep immersion, spiral 2 is. And it should really come with a little bit of a health warning of do not come on to the training unless you wish to be transformed, if you wish your life to be changed. So even from the first circle, students go home changed. And this is what this training is about. And I don't really see it as a course or a training, in fact, really. I'm sure Catherine will agree with me that it's a real life journey. One not to be taken lightly, but one to be embraced. And what you receive from it is just undescribable, really. You can't really put it into words because everybody's journey is so very, very different. So in the end, once you've walked the labyrinth, you then self-dedicate to be either a priest or priestess of Goddess. And that is spiral 2.
Thank you.
Yeah. So shall I go on to spiral 3?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That would be lovely.
So during spiral 2, you may or may not be called by the lady, and that's absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine if you remain a priestess of Goddess, because not everyone is called to be the lady's priest or priestess. But if you do get the calling, you certainly know about it. The lady makes herself very known to you in lots of ways. She'll call to you. So for spiral 3, it's a completely different training. It's a standalone training, I feel, but it's over 4 circles. So you have a lot longer time in between each circle. But again, it's a 9-month-long practice. And it really brings us face to face with our deepest selves, our soul and our shadow. She really looks into us deeply, with our strengths and our weaknesses, with our woundings and our resistance to transform. Everything will come up, but she is with you every step of the way through this. If this is to be your calling, to be her priest and priestess, she will take you along on that journey. There's no doubt about that. So obviously, to be her priest or Priestess of Avalon is to work specifically with her energies, in her love, in her nature. And she will be with you throughout the day, throughout the night. Wherever you walk, you will see her, you will smell her, you will sense her. And so to call yourself a priest or priestess of Avalon, it really requires a purpose and a commitment as to why do you wish to become her priestess or priest? Why? And really think deeply about that before you immerse yourself in the practice. And the practices, there are three practices which get deeper and deeper as you go along the 9 months. And it's very difficult to describe. Very difficult. Everybody's journey is different. It's a true personal one-to-one journey with the lady. So where was I going with that? Yeah, so the purpose of the practice is to give you a deeper, a more profound experience. And you can go through this through different ways, through journeying with the lady, through invocations. And you do this, obviously, like I said, daily. It's a daily commitment to be with her. And I can't say anything more. It's just so powerful. And obviously at the end of the 9 months, you again go through a third dedication. And again, the dedication itself is very powerful. And a life-changing experience, really. And then to be her priest and priestess of Avalon is just wonderful and amazing and tricky at times, difficult at times, but beautiful. Very, very beautiful. Yeah, the lady is love, and it's how she transforms you with her love. Yeah, so that's spiral 3.
Thank you both for that wonderful introduction to the 3 spirals of the Priestess of Avalon training that was founded by Kathy Jones, of course, here in Avalon. And listening to both of you as the spiral tutors has just made me kind of relive in a short moment the joy that I had when I went through each spiral as well. So and just those memories kind of flooding back of the community and my sisters and brothers and my experiences on each of those spiral years was just profound and deeply moving and changed my life for the better. So thank you both. And I think that's also something to say, is that those that are called to the Priestess of Avalon training are also called into our goddess loving community, where we are sisters and brothers to each other and support each other in all that we do, and become involved in ceremonies and events and our own pathway within our calling to be a priestess or a priest. And all of that is just really beautiful and so enriching and deep. And to create with others in such a way is so special. So yes, would either of you like to say anything about just very briefly your kind of thoughts on being part of the goddess community?
I'll let you go first, Kit.
I forgot to say when I was sharing that at the end of the first year you become a sister or a brother of Avalon, and that's important because as you become a sister or brother of Avalon, you enter the group called Temple Orchard, and that is a connection with the community. You see who else is on it, we also, both Patricia and I, do have speakers sometimes, so students begin to get to know people in the community while they're still on their training, and we do encourage them to go to ceremonies, whether they're the in-person one or the online. So my connection with the community, I also live in Dorset like Patricia, but at the other end of Dorset. And so we're not so close to each other, which is a shame. But we both travel and we're both happy to do that. So we're in Glastonbury most weeks, and we come and we meet up at community events like. Well, I don't tend to make it to Weavers on Tuesdays, but there's meetings on Tuesdays. There's a new Hive group for people working in the community. I come like Patricia and Lisa to the directors' meetings, and there's all sorts of wonderful things. There's the sort of like just arriving because you feel called to go to Glastonbury today, which happens with me quite a lot. So I just arrive, and I've always thought this ever since I've been visiting Glastonbury. So I've been coming to Glastonbury for about 20 years. I picked up the book 20 years ago, but it took me a long time to feel called to actually do the training. So unlike Patricia, I don't have that much family in Dorset. My family have all grown up and gone away, so it's just my husband and I. So for community, I really do travel for that. And I've always loved Glastonbury because I've always bumped into like-minded people in town. And now I've done the training, of course, I meet lots of people who are my community, who are my close friends and the people I would want to share my life with. And that's in Goddess Temple Gifts. I bump into them, bumping into the cafes. We arrange to meet. We arrange to work together on projects. There's a few of us, including Patricia, who look after the hall. So we pop into Goddess Hall, which you can see in the picture behind us, to make sure that these behind the scene places are honoured and looked after. And we've already mentioned the ceremonies, but the ceremonies are just wonderful because not only do we get to see each other, but we get to work with the Lady of Avalon, and that's just tremendous. So Patricia comes to more of the in-person ones than I, so I won't say much more about than that. But I tend to support the online ceremonies, and I really like doing that. And also in the Temple Book Club now, which is great, and I really enjoy the reads that we have between seasons. So there's all sorts of ways of becoming a real member of the community, and once everybody's done their first spiral year, and that's by no means a small thing. All peoples who are sisters of Avalon, brothers of Avalon, have done a lot of work to get there. They've got a really significant connection to Avalon, Glastonbury, and the community. And we annually hold an orchard gathering, which is a wonderful 3 to 4 day event, which is free of charge to anybody in the Temple Orchard to come together, to see each other again, listen to all sorts of offerings, which may be ceremony, maybe talks. People may have gone somewhere and or found out something new, and that comes up every year in February, and it's just a wonderful way just to reconnect. So there's lots of ways of connecting here, and lots of ways of holding each other and listening to each other.
Yeah.
Thank you. Patricia.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I would echo what Kit has said. I mean, the in-person ceremonies I personally enjoy being a part of, because I think when you're a tutor, you sort of miss out on these kind of events, and it's just really nice to be a part and to take part in the ceremonies, and it's just an amazing feeling, you know, when you come to the end of the ceremony and it's all gone wonderfully, as it always does, of course. And it's you leave on a real high because you can see the people's faces that have visited and seen the ceremonies, and they're like, wow, you know, this is just so beautiful, so wonderful. So people take it home with them. I love to Melissa in the temple, so I do that once a month. I try and hold women's circles on the Friday when I'm over. teaching on the Friday evening, just to offer the women of Glastonbury a place to come and just feel into Goddess's energy. And obviously, as Kit said, we sort of coordinate the Temple Orchard gathering together. And there is just so much. I mean, whenever you just enter Glastonbury, you walk up the high street, and it often takes you quite some time because you bump into many people that so our community is thriving, and it's from Goddess. Goddess's love and energy is so prevalent, and it's just so beautiful. So I feel really honoured to be part of this family, and I welcome anyone watching this to come on to the training and be transformed and become part of our community. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much again, Catherine and Patricia, for talking to me today. And thank you everyone for listening to our Symposium training discussion for the Priestess of Avalon training. And we look forward to welcoming you to connect with us and our community. Blessings, everybody.
Blessings.